In this chapter, we'll look at how Pro Tools stores your session information with the goal of helping you make your workflow as efficient as it can be. And I will start by creating a blank session and putting it on the desktop. We'll call it Customizing. And so now we have some basic windows. Transport, which we actually don't need for this, and our edit window and our mix window behind it. Now let's hide Pro Tools and take a look at this folder. Opening up Customizing. Alphabetically from the top, there's a folder for audio files. There are no files in it if we open it, but when we import or record audio, that's where those files go by default. When we finish a mix, we bounce it. That's what we call the process of combining all the sounds in our session into one file so that we can publish it somewhere. So bounced files go in this folder. Obviously, there's nothing in there yet. Clip groups are where Pro Tools stores things that we define as a group. We may want all the vocal parts defined as a group, all the drum parts defined as a group, all the music parts defined as a group, all the sound effects defined as a group. So that's where it stores those. This is our session file with a PTX extension. It's 47K, so it's very small. And this is how Pro Tools keeps track of your audio tracks, your MIDI tracks, your aux inputs, master faders, all the tracks that make up your session, any plugins you might have added, which windows are open and where they are. So if I jump into Pro Tools for a second and I close this little video window and I add 4 new mono audio tracks and 4 new stereo aux inputs and 1 stereo master fader and create them. There they all are. And then I hide Pro Tools again. Remember, it was 47K last time we looked, and it's still 47K. I'll tell you what, let's jump back to Pro Tools and save this and then see how big it is. And now it's 60K. Get rid of this little video window. It has more data to keep track of. It's still very small as file sizes go, but it has more to keep track of than it used to. If you see old, like Pro Tools 6.9 and earlier session files, they might have a .pts file tag. And these will open in 11 just fine, and you can save them to work with legacy versions of the app. We have a place for video files too, and this wave cache. The interesting thing here is that we didn't do any of this. We created a session called Customizing, and Pro Tools did all this backstory here, all these files and organization. This is a kind of a fun experiment. Sometimes it scares people. I've seen students in my class get scared that this happens, but let's do it anyway. So we will save this file, quit Pro Tools, and now let's take a look at our session. And there's nothing there. None of those files are there anymore. The wave cache is gone, all those subfolders are gone, and we have our simple 60K document. Don't be scared of that. Pro Tools is keeping what it needs to open this session. Let's open it up again. And now we're back to where we were. All the things that we added to the session are still there. And if we hide, it's put back the folders that it thinks we might want to use, although the bounce is not here yet. But it will create that file when we need to for a bounce. One very important concept here is that it stores the audio files in this folder. This folder lives inside of Customizing, and every session that you make will have an audio files folder. You should always store the audio for your session, whatever it's titled, in the audio files folder for that session. If you decide, I just put all my audio into this folder called audio files somewhere, and I'll just pull from it every time I open a session, that's a really lousy way to do your workflow in Pro Tools. Pro Tools has things organized the way it expects to find them for your session. And when you move your session around, you don't want to just grab this session document, this PTX. You don't want to just grab the audio files. You want to grab the whole thing called Customizing with all the little parts that it needs inside. Pro Tools does a pretty good job of organizing things so that it can find them later. Let's not mess with that. In the next movie, we'll look at options for saving.